Howdy everyone, Pocho here with an Age of Magic video, and in today's video we're going to cover everything you need to know about Cradle of Chaos. Now mind you, it is a feature not released yet, so things could change with what we are discussing today, but it is close. It has to be, because in the back of our interface, the plague that has watched over us for years now, the soon that floats in the sky has been replaced with very soon, and that is going to be the home of Cradle of Chaos. So it is coming. It is on the horizon. So what do we need to know? Cradle of Chaos is going to be the first new proper game mode introduced to the game. It's not a reskin of old content. It is brand new. The rules are different. How it works is different. It's great. I was very fortunate to be able to play in the test run, and I thought it was probably the best game mode thus far. In saying that, you need to understand that this game mode was designed for endgame players. And if you are thinking like Arcane Stars endgame, yes, but I believe if you have a healthy roster of just decent heroes, you should be able to do okay in the Cradle of Chaos. It's just going to be very, very challenging when you get to the areas, or area 2 and 3. There's 3 areas that are released in Cradle of Chaos, and you need to progress through the first one to move on to the second and third. Now, each area has 5 nodes. Your job is to beat the 5 nodes, and beating 5 will unlock the next area. But what I really, really liked about Cradle of Chaos, and I hope to God they keep this feature, was that you didn't need to just beat node 1, then move on to node 2. Node 2, then move on to node 3. You go into the area and you can select which of the 5 nodes you want to attack first. This is really, really great in the sense that it adds a lot more strategy to the game. You can look at each node, look at the heroes or the waves you will be fighting, and then decide which heroes would best be used against that node. Each area only allows you to use your heroes once. So by locking in a team to fight a node, you are going to restrict yourself from using those heroes in any of the other 4 nodes. When you move on to the next area, your heroes will be reset. So please be very cautious about what heroes you use to verse each node. Now, another thing that comes into play in the Cradle of Chaos is each region has weak and strong factions. Light and dark do not play a part in this. You can use all your heroes, but there will be some that are strengthened and weakened. And this buff or debuff is pretty significant. Though you can use the barbarians, you may find yourself not wanting to because the debuff is pretty severe. Where the buff, on the other hand, is pretty significant, that you may be using the kobolds, for example, to take on the hardest node in that area. This really plays a part, because you need to decide, hey, this node is the hardest. This node looks the hardest. I'll use one of my buffed factions to tackle that node, and then designate my other heroes accordingly to fight the other 4 nodes. So as you can see, Cradle of Chaos, Area 1, the weak one, is the barbarians. The strong factions are the wild elves, the dwarves, and the kobolds. Now, moving on to Area 2. What do we have? Area 2, we have Frost Peak. Same rules, has 5 nodes. You need to find out what is in each 5 of the nodes, and then decide how you progress from there. The weak factions are the barbarians, and now they have added the archons as well. So yes, you could still use these factions. Do you want to, though? How penalized are you going to be by using them against a node? Because they will feel like the worst factions in the game. Maybe you could get away if they had really high arcane stars, but when I tested it, I really didn't want to use the debuffed factions. It just felt terrible. It felt like I was accomplishing nothing. The strong factions in this area will be the wild elves and the druids. 2 great factions, 2 factions that will probably decimate your enemies when they have the buff as well. So keep an eye on that. Again, 5 nodes. Click on a node, see what the enemies are. Think about it. Don't just jump in and tackle it, because you can. Really think about it. I believe Cradle of Chaos is available for a few days. So even though it does have an energy system as well, I'm not sure how the energy works. Just take your time, okay? You have time to finish everything. So don't rush it. it's probably the worst thing you can do. Moving on to the final area, Cradle of Chaos Area 3. We have the Heart of Chaos. In this area, we have the Barbarians, Archons, and Beastmen weakened. In the strong category, we have the Wild Elves, the Druids, the Kobolds, the High Elves. Now, one thing that confused me in the announcement was they said that also the Orcs and the Renegades are buffed. It confused me because the way it worded it made it sound like the Orcs and the Barbarians are buffed for all 3 areas. So just be aware of that. They may not be only buffed in Area 3. They may be buffed in Area 1 and 2 as well. The moment the game mode comes out, you will easily be able to tell if they're buffed or not. The color of the heroes turns green if they are strong and turns red if they are weak. So you will instantly be able to tell. But I'm just stating what I've read off the Discord announcement, and that is that they are buffed for a season, I believe it is. So you could be using them in areas 1 and 2 as well, which would be really good if you can. It will then make 4 factions per area, which will make a lot of the nodes fairly easy, especially Renegades and Orcs, especially Orcs. Orcs would probably be able to beat any node just regular, let alone being buffed. So I believe Area 3, honestly, with the amount of buffed heroes you're getting, Area 3 may be the easiest. As long as you've got heroes in those factions that are ready to go. You know, I'm talking level 90, gear 12, minimum. You're probably looking at a minimum 3-4 arcane stars to just get through the node. I was struggling with the account I was given, and that had an average of 4 arcane stars in Area 3, so it will be interesting to see if much has changed. But you have a wide selection of strong heroes. You have a fairly decent amount of good heroes cut off. Archons and Beastmen. It is a shame because these weak factions are probably factions people have put a bit of time and effort into, so having them cut off may be a bit of a hindrance. Because even though every faction in the game is usable to a degree, it still doesn't mean people put time and effort into those useless factions. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays a part. Now, in the release of Cradle of Chaos as well, there will be a leaderboard. Now, from what I've seen, they've not announced how you gain points on the leaderboard. I believe that is still under lock and key, so I won't go into anything there. But it is an interesting leaderboard. It's not just clear a node, get points. They've got little rules. When I played it, they had one rule. I did send suggestions of how they could make it a little more interesting, but we'll see. I don't think it mattered all that much. You just get through, get the rewards. Each area has rewards. The leaderboard has rewards as well. But from what I read, the biggest thing is a skin. I mean, your account's not getting stupidly hindered because a player's getting a skin. I will definitely be trying for a skin because I love skins. I'm a skin collector. But we'll see what happens when the game comes out or the game mode comes out. But that is Cradle of Chaos at the moment. It is going to be interesting. I believe it is going to be fun. I would suggest looking through your heroes, seeing who you can maybe, with the information you've got, your strong heroes, maybe put a little bit of effort into some of them to just help you. At the same time, you could just wait till the game mode comes out and then go from there. That's probably a better suggestion so you don't waste resources. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions, feel free to leave a comment below. I will answer to the best of my ability. And wherever you're around the world, until next time, please take care of yourself.